All right, we're gonna buy some packs on the one of the bot club accounts because that's where there are a lot of points, and I like trying to complete their collections. All right, so FF Tactics Advanced looks like the first new one. Okay, so I did see some shots before. I think it's a neat decision to show the fields around them and a variety of fields. I think that gives them a certain pop, and I believe we go to the red version. No, okay. I thought there might be something different with the sprites there. But I think it gives it a nice distinctive look from other things. I can't quite see what's going on with 9437. That card's not popping for me, but I like 3546. The Moogles are always cute. And I like it on the background. I think it's an interesting design choice. This card over here is our new Quistis type. That's fun to see. All right, let's buy a few more of these. We got another A692. 9A12. I guess that's a level 9. Yeah. I like that. More variety in numbers. One interesting thing, there's sort of a thing around like level 1 the highest number is 6. Level 2 through 4 the highest, or 2 through 5 the highest number is 7. So you get this huge range of things within the handling 6s and 7s range. And then level 6 and 7 covers 8. You very much have level 7, like the clean level where the numbers just work well together, and level 6, which is a lot more kind of low, weird numbers dangling. And I've been doing some level 6 stuff on my own of recent, and it is a very clumsy level. I am not. I like some level 6 play, but I am not very good at it. By the standards I want to be, at least. And then level 8 is the only level with 9 as the highest number, which means level 8 has to cover this huge swath of ground. And if you were going to add more levels, you'd want to add level 7.5 or level 8.5. I think those could be really interesting. Maybe not. Maybe you just kind of get level 8.5 just gives you 998s, which have really dominated whenever we do tournament rule sets of like level 7 through 9 cannot use A's kind of thing. So maybe that's where you'd end up. But those have been some decent games. And then level 9 and 10 are the two A levels. So you have a ton with 7 at the highest. You have very little with 6 at the highest, but there's not that much room below 6. So I think that's okay. And then you've got 2 levels with 8 at the highest. And I think those end up feeling like they cover the gamut pretty well. And then you have 1 level with level 9 at the highest, with number 9 as the highest. And that, if I was redesigning Triple Triad from scratch, that's one of the things I'd think about. But another is level 910. You don't see many cards like 9A12. I like this as an inclusion. This feels like that level 8.5, but it's not the 8.5 that's 8 plus a half. It's the level 8.5 that's 9 minus a half. I think that's interesting to see. I like it. We do have some 2-2A9s. Of course, this is significantly weaker because its plus wall use is much less, but it means it's firmly within the range. I think this is good. I will note, though, that the total value of the card is 22, which is a level 9 that is in some ways outpaced by level 5s, right? 6763 is 22 total power as well. Presuming I can add, which I think I can. Interesting. All right. Get some low levels. I like the ones where the visual of the sprite pops a little more off the background. I kind of like 178878, even though the bluish head and the orange background you could say are similar. I like that one. And I like 1252 where the hair kind of pops a little more than I like these kind of blues or grays on blue backgrounds. But I'm just looking at stuff. This is neat. It's sort of curious where color pops. Like I think 1252 actually looks really nice. I'm not normally about the aesthetics, but this is a very interesting type of design where you see some stuff like this where the blue fades into the background blue a bit and the grays, but like where the green here and the yellows in the back pop quite nicely. All right, let's do one more FFTA. I like this deck. 6268. The 8s with surrounding 6s are always quite strong. All right, we didn't see many high levels. Let's do one more. All right, that's enough of that. Let's take a look at Naruto. I am not an anime guy. I had a phase where I decided to try to watch anime. I did attempt to watch some Dragon Ball. It was not for me. But there's nothing against it. And I've watched like half the first episode of Naruto, I think, during that attempt to see if there was any anime I liked. I think fundamentally most anime isn't doing what I want. I've been trying some friend got me to try a few shows recently. And I absolutely hated some. But there were a couple that did some interesting things for me. I think fundamentally, like, you have so much freedom to animate whatever kind of world or universe you want to create that you can do some really just interesting things without it costing a bazillion dollars to do like a live action version. And so you can be really creative in some ways, but most of it just doesn't go towards creativity I'm interested in. Um, and I didn't think, I mean, Naruto was far from the worst thing I watched. All right. Okay. 7764s are always fun to use. Um, 885458 is like Tiamat. Okay. Don't recognize anything here from the 3 minutes I watched, 15 minutes I watched. Uh, yeah. Man, FFTA is really going to stand out as looking different than other decks. Do you remember back in the day, or back in the day for me, when FF10 had the cards that were just sort of places? And those cards got changed, and I never thought they worked. And the FFTA cards are kind of a combination of player, place, and character sprite. And compared to these, I think these are perfectly well done, but like Naruto's graphics are not for me. But the FFTA ones were actually really interesting to look at compared to normal card design. So I'm coming out really pro that deck, which is neat. You wanna be enthused. Obviously, like when new decks are coming out, they're gonna be for some people and not for others. That's totally fine. The decks that are gonna be made are gonna be what the deck makers are interested in. That's fine. It's nice to have new content. Um, but yeah, I think the FFTA looks interestingly different. All right. My favorite card here I've seen is the 5518, though obviously that's a very clumsy card to use. Um, again, that's a card that like level 6 is very clumsy. Unless that's like a low level rare. No, it can't be. Okay. Um do do do. All right. I don't think I have too much to say here, so let's take a look. I haven't unlocked the other two decks, I think, because I don't think I have enough wins. Um where do we go? My cards unlocks. Yeah, so we haven't unlocked One Piece. And that includes a rare, so I'm probably not going to just pull that rare if we keep drawing. And we haven't unlocked Skies of Arcadia. 3141 is not going to be Naruto. Is that going to be FF Tactics Advance? If we go to Dex, is this going to be where Marco is? No. So maybe that's in the other deck I haven't unlocked. Alright. Is there anything else? Um, I guess we'll buy a few more of those, and then maybe later I'll do one on the main account. I could go to the main account now. One sec. I'm gonna hide my screen for a moment while I log out and log in. So I have some points on there as well. All right, and let's go to the card shop. Let's come back. There we go. And I guess One Piece and Skies of Arcadia. Let's look at those. I've never watched any of One Piece. Over the course of my life, I, have a few people I consider my best friends. My sort of thought on best friends, this is best friends is a maybe childish way to think of it, but I sort of have like one best friend for each sort of part of my life or friend group I've been part of. And obviously some have been lost to time and, moving away and stuff. But one of my absolute best friends and long-term best friends loves One Piece more than anything. And I do think these cards are immediately more fun to look at than the Naruto, though I have no idea if that's. I mean, you can only work with the visuals you're seeing. But like 5652 already is a sillier face than any we've seen. Skulls with kind of big funny hair is fun. I'm a huge fan of ducks. They're always great. This is officially my favorite card. Um, let's look at more of these. 855. Yeah, Kate Sith type. Okay. 5499. You see, there's someone else that looks silly. 2742. Is that the same skull guy as before, or are there multiple skull guys running around? We'll never know. All right. Clown Pirate. It's interesting. This is similar to the heart we saw in the first pack. I wonder what like are these like key artifacts in the universe or something. All right, definitely pirate themed thing. Yeah, and we're seeing more of these like fruits of some kind, maybe. 6633s are interesting. This a great level 3, probably. There is that one level 3 that's a 7641 that's just like the most overpowered level 3. But it's not like so overpowered it breaks the game. It's just obviously the best level 3 card. I actually like having like one inclusion like that. It's kind of interesting. Anyhow. We have seen most of those before. Except the 4622. All right. Silly shaped face for the 7327. All right, let's do one more of these. Again, these fruits are something. All right, one more. All right. And we'll go back to the card shop and let's buy a few Skies of Arcadia. Piggy Man loves Skies of Arcadia, not to like sell out someone else's taste, but he always recommended it really strongly. And I got it and I had it because I never had a GameCube. But when I got a Wii, which I never did all that much with, but when I got a Wii, I mostly used it to play through like GameCube RPGs. And so I got Skies of Arcadia, but the encounter rate was immediately really off-putting to me. And so I never got very far. And I think a lot of people hit that, and I'm sure it's a great game. I think Piggy has really, really good taste. I really, even when we don't like exactly the same things or anything like that, but he always values something I think quite interesting in those games. So like for instance, he likes FF12 much more than I do, but he approaches it from a kind of interesting angle where he finds a way to make it really interesting and meaningful to him, even if he thinks a lot of the initial game design we agree is flawed, but he does a better job of finding a way to still become engaged in the universe of it. So, anyways, I'm sure Skies of Arcadia is very, very good, and it's cool to see a deck. All right, we got a big bird for 6834. That is so far my favorite card. Yeah, the graphics are sort of GameCube pixelated in a specific way. This does look similar to the visual I remember. Um, yeah, where it like looks like GameCube was sort of sometimes PS2 Xbox, but sort of sometimes it was like PS1 and a half. And this is making me think of that, PS1 to 1.5 look. 8A28. Those are always interesting cards. When I did some work with the solver, kind of evaluating card values, it was really high on A88s. But one thing that was really visible is their value just goes so far up and down depending on whether there are any nines present. And they are extremely good with no nines or like one nine or maybe two. And once that number starts going up, they really drop off in value. Very interesting card. Like, if you knew your opponent's hand, either they are a very good choice or quite a bad choice. And usually there's enough nines or few enough nines that it's one or the other of those. Very interesting card type. 7861s, I think are usually level 6s and are really interesting there. Also somewhat interesting on 7. And we get a Vincent type in A791. Interesting card numbers. Another 747A. We didn't have one for that angle, I guess. Because we had I think Flame Champ is like 477. No, I'm not remembering now. But there's like Cloud Eris pointing the other way. There's like Amaranth. Is that the A747? That sounds right. Yeah. Interesting to see another one in the mix. Um, Okay. Nice purple beard. I want purple eyebrows. I don't. I don't like dyed hair. Um, or I have no interest in dyed hair, I should say. Uh, but man, imagine having a big purple beard. I kind of have a beard at the moment. Sometimes I'm better shaven, sometimes I'm worse shaven. Right now, got that beard. Mostly out of laziness. I thought we just made some other card 7157. Maybe that's 7751? I thought I was just looking at a 7157. Let's actually go to I guess my cards levels 5, 7, 5, 1, 7. Ghost ship 7517 FF7. 7157. Ah, yeah. Okay. They flipped the 1 and the 5. They got me. 5111's a kind of funny card. This does look like a card that could have the poison element. That seems legit. Alright, let's do one more. 8864. Those cards, whenever we play like level 8, you can't use 9s. These cards really are everything that people use. Alright. So of the 4 new decks, I had the most fun looking at FF Tactics Advance and One Piece. But that's just my visual taste. I know Turds has done a lot of work on the numbering combos, and I think there's some interesting inclusions. And just filling out such that you can have rotated versions of each cards allows kind of more hands to be done in more ways. Obviously, interesting things can be done based on restriction, based on limitations. But we always have the tools to do that. We can always restrict decks or have stipulations. So having all the options there and then restricting seems to me a nice way to get there. So it's really nice to have new cards. It's cool to collect new things. I don't think this time I like got any rares or something and just didn't notice. That has happened in the past. Um, yeah, every time I opened a Dragon Ball pack, I got a Mr. Satan for a while. I got like 6 in like my first, I don't know, 50 packs. It was crazy. All right, so we didn't get anything here. And, we did get something here. Congrats to me. We can get Seto's alter ego. That's fun. Yeah. So fun to get new cards. I had fun looking at the designs of 2 of them especially. So shout out to the deck makers. And yeah, it's nice getting new stuff. I also, every time I do this, I sort of want to say quickly, like, not everything's to everyone's taste. And I think it's both fine to be unhappy when you see an edition you don't like, but also it's really nice when you say, hey, good job, guys. These look cool and fun. I'm excited about them. And if you are excited about them, do send someone involved a message because I'm sure they'll really appreciate it. And it takes like 4 seconds of your time and they'll feel good about it. So that's like a really nice thing to do if you're like, hey, I like seeing this number combo. Send a message to Turds. If you like the look of a new deck, let the deck makers know, right? You can look up who made the decks. We can go to credits, and it is easy to see, who made these decks. Like Go Tell Speed, yeah, One Piece looks cool. I like it. Great job. Um, you know, so Dalamar, Speed, I'll just call him, and Jay and some numbers in the chat. I think did really nice jobs putting these decks together. Turds did all the numbering, or Joker. And send them messages saying cool work because it's neat when people put stuff together. The more negative comment I want to make is we all have our image of what the site is, and we're all gonna see things that if as stuff is added, it's moving in some different directions, right? We've had this kind of core JRPG focused site, and when people wanted to make other stuff, it was usually put on TTN. And now stuff that is not sort of part of that core image is coming here. You can look back. There's an old article. I have it somewhere. Yeah, you can go to Destructoid, expanded universes triple triad X. Okay. Well, I'm not getting through, but if you Google Destructoid, Expanded Universes, Triple Triad X. I guess I can turn off my ad blocker for this page. Disable filtering on this website. Let's reload. Yeah, here we go. No thanks, Jesus Christ. By a Bullet Magnet, who I think went by Karai or Kirill or something. And write this really touching piece. It's a really good piece. Go read it. And in the midst of it, he complains. A lot of it is about being a card creator. It's so cool how people have engaged in different ways with the game. But he does great. It's a really nice article, really interesting article. And he complains at some point in the article, I'm not going to find it, about the adding of maybe the Dragonlance deck. I forget what it was. Something that he felt didn't fit what his image of the site was or should be. And we're all going to have that at some point. Like, if they made a Funko Pop deck, I would be like, what are we doing? Right? I also like would feel really weird if like real humans' faces, like if suddenly I was playing like a Brad Pitt card or whatever, that would feel really weird to me. That would feel really jarring along with other things on the site. And we're all going to have that point with different things. And I think it is worth saying, if you think something is sort of beyond the pale of what the site should be, I think it is good to say in the chat, like, hey, I really don't want us to go in this direction, because the development of this stuff is for the community. And we should be somewhat careful about where that goes. I think there's a sort of, I think Anthony has talked well about this. There's this sort of natural progression from Chrono Trigger into Dragon Ball into more anime. Um, and I guess I want to say, like, to me, anime doesn't make sense as a needed inclusion, but it does to other people, and that's fine. And it's cool to get new cards, and I'm happy they get something they're really excited about. And that's fine. It's okay that other people are excited about stuff I'm not. And so anyway, I don't want to be like, I like the people that are expanding the site and adding new cards. I think that's really cool and good. They're basically not doing it in any directions I'm interested in, and that's okay too. I think there are also people who are unhappy with the direction, and I also think that's totally fine. I think we've all been at this bar together for 20, 25 years, and we really care about what the bar looks like. And there are some things that to me don't feel like big changes that to another person might feel like really big changes. And it's fair to say I want the bar to look like the comfortable place it's always been for me. So I guess I want us to be like more celebratory when something new and cool comes out. Like, you might go to buy 10 packs but not think to send someone a cheerful message. They'll really appreciate that cheerful message. Do send them that message. At the same time, if someone is complaining and saying, hey, the bar looks wrong to me now, that's fair too. That's totally fair. It's some people are going to have that kind of reaction. They are not wrong to do so, and it is not unfair of them to do so. So I guess that's where I wanted to say. Fun to collect new cards. I will probably go buy a bunch more packs, but I wanted to talk about it a little. And hopefully this resonated with someone.